This is an SABC News presentation.
It's been a decade since the introduction of the child support grant, but hundreds of thousands of children are still out in the cold, suffering severe malnutrition, all because parents don't have ID documents. We visit Ufafa Valley in KwaZulu-Natal and find families in dire need of help.
Usually they have got light hairs, big stomach, swollen body, and also they usually don't like food. They have got poor appetite.
Poverty is so ingrained in those communities because we see a lot of malnourished children.
To make an application for any sort of child support grant, care dependency grant or foster care grant, you have to have a birth certificate for the eligible child, and the caregiver has to have an identity document. The consequences for children are dire because really the child support grant is a lifeline.
Of the 1,400 kids that were admitted in 2006, about 8% died.
Until we can get beyond the whole bureaucratic system of Home Affairs producing these IDs, people are going to be stuck pretty much where they are now, not being able to access the services that are due to them.
These disturbing images were captured around South Africa over the past few years. Child poverty in South Africa is high. It affects an estimated 12 million children, nearly a quarter of our population. Child support grants are a meal ticket for many, but accessing these grants remain a problem. To see what's happening on the ground, we journey to the Ufafa Valley, close to Iklopo, in the southern KwaZulu-Natal Midlands. The landscape is breathtaking, but it's also a valley of death. HIV, AIDS and poverty have taken their toll. But here one small group of people is trying to make a difference.
Here in this village, I can say it's 90% of people who are infected.
Jane Lasana works for the Woza Moya project, an HIV/AIDS community care and support program.
We're basically an HIV/AIDS community care and support program. The whole social pensions and grants system is therefore very important to us because that's a main poverty alleviation program. Children, you know, they are severely affected by poverty. I mean, we've had, whether it be malnutrition or lack of education, lack of proper schooling, lack of proper care and support, all these kind of things are impacted directly by poverty.
Gundani Mtembu is Woza Moya's paralegal caseworker. He assists families to get social assistance grants and to apply for ID documents. Field workers such as Tembi Maseli bring cases to him.
I'm working at Woza Moya as a child and youth care worker. I'm working all over the 11 areas at Ufafa. We are working with children, all the children from 0 to 18 years. I'm working with the child who are at risk.
Tembi speaks to Gundani about a specific case that needs urgent attention. There's a family in distress. A grandmother with 11 children is trying to get a new ID. Without it, she'll never be able to access any form of social assistance from the government.
They don't accept it at social welfare.
We accompany them on a journey to find the family. Along the way, we meet a volunteer field worker. She's going to show us where the family lives. After an hour's drive deep into the hills of the valley, we park the vehicle. The rest of the journey is on foot until we finally reach the Nkandi family. What we find is a family in despair, malnourished, sick, orphan children left in the care of grandparents who are also suffering from ill health. Only one of the 11 children here has a birth certificate. We also hear that this family has not eaten in 5 days.
Inenkinga yokuthi anginayo umuntu osebenzayo silala singadlile namanje nasidlile kumanje ngisaphila mina bengisizwa ukuthi ngiphandele abantu ngithezela abantu ngabuye ngasizwa ke nawe Woza Moya wangipha ukudla.
The graves of those who succumb to disease are close by, a constant reminder of the consequences of poverty.
The granny is living with 11 grandchildren, and she got several children, his daughters, and one passed away. So there's no one who's working here in this house, and she's getting 200 rand a grant, which is a child support grant. They are surviving with these 200 rand only. The other daughters, they don't have the ID books, and the grandchildren, they don't have birth certificate at all. They are, and the granny tried to go to Home Affairs to apply for the foster child grant. They refused because her ID book is damaged. They are malnourished. Even you heard that they are crying because there is nothing in the stomach, and the gogos had nothing to cook inside the house.
What have they eaten so far for the day?
Nothing today. He said they're sleeping for a whole week without food.
My plans are just to contact the Department of Home Affairs as well as the Department of Social Development, just because I've seen a lot of mistakes.
For them, a trip to the Home Affairs office in Iklopo is costly, 26 rand a round trip by taxi.
It's never just one trip. You know, Home Affairs, you can go in month after month after month, and the money just accumulates. And for people living in poverty like this, that's very serious. That's a lot of money.